This video will explain how to reclassify raster data for use in analysis within Spatial Analyst. Now, looking at the various layers in the screen here, there are three raster layers that have been generated. Now, one of them is a distance raster that is for Shawnee County, Kansas, where you see here are the highways, and you'll see the different changes in the colors of the raster cells as you move across after the data has been ranged. And please note that the cells are actually unique in their values. They start to increase as you move further and further away. It's just cartographically to make it look nicer and easier to work with. You see these more general changes here. Now, that is a distance raster, and the units are based via the projection that was used and the parameters thereof. Now let me turn that off. Okay, and here we have a population raster, and well, you'll see that the population raster, you're looking at values here in this range here, 0 to 19, 19 to 43, so on and so forth. These numbers look a heck of a lot different than the numbers that you'll see here when it comes to the ranges here in the distance raster. And then if you want to go even further, when it comes to differences, I'll turn that off. And now here we see the land cover raster layer that was created. It's called land raster. And all these different colors are showing nominal data like cropland, grassland, the airport. So how do we take these raster layers that are so different when it comes to the values of the cells and try to compare them in order to make a decision? Well, let me float out a scenario to everybody, and that is, let's just say in Shawnee County they were going to be building a new hazardous waste facility. So it's that facility that nobody wants in their community, but you need it though, of course, in order to maintain the environmental safety of the community. Well, let's brainstorm some parameters here. When it comes to distance, let's say you want it to be close to the highways, because when it comes to transportation of toxins and things like that, transportation from the highway, it's just you're gonna need good highway access. So you want to be close to the highway. But also when it comes to population, you're going to want to be in areas where there is lower population. Now when it comes to land cover, you're going to want to be in a place where it's going to have the least impact on the current land use. So those are your three parameters, dealing with distance and population and also land cover. So now, where's the magic that allows us to pull this all together? And everybody, that is going to be found within Arc Toolbox. And so please, if you would, go ahead and open up Arc Toolbox. And you'll see that in Arc Toolbox, in the toolbox, Spatial Analyst Tools, if you open that up, one of the options here is Reclass. So under Spatial Analyst Tools within Spatial Analyst, you're going to see Reclass, and you go to Reclass. And the tool in particular that we're looking at under Reclass is Reclassify. And let me open that up. Okay, welcome to Reclassify. What Reclassify is going to do, everybody, is it's going to allow us to create a scale that's going to be a uniform scale for all the layers that we're going to be using to compare. So we're going to take all these values that are found in each one of these layers, and we're going to put some order on the landscape. So that way we can compare them kind of at the same level. Now, under Input Raster, very top here, we're going to start off with distance. Here's a distance raster. Okay. Now, it's going to ask you, what field are you looking for? And the first one here is, the only one here, is value. So it is what the cell value is. So, okay, there was nowhere else to go there on that one. Now, the values. Here you see old values. That's very uncomplimentary, isn't it? But old values, and you see that you've got quite a bit here. Okay, you got 10, and 10 is a nice number, by the way, when it comes to creating this scaling system. Okay, this new ranging. Now you see 0 to, well, anyway, the lower values, and then finally going over to the higher values. And there's a scale. Okay, the values are 1 to 10. A scale of 1 to 10 is actually pretty good. Let's stick with that. Now, could you use a scale of 1 to 12? Could you create 12? Sure you could. If you wanted to do that, by the way, all you have to do is go over here to classify. There's a classify option. And if you click on that, you'll see that when it comes to classes, you can change it to whatever value. Even when it comes to methods, statistically, you can start manipulating that. So you've got some options here, but we're not going to mess with that for now. And I don't know, something doesn't seem right here, folks. If 10, let's just say that the high value is the thing that we favor the most, you'll see that in this example that it shows that the areas that are furthest away from the highways, that is the values right now that are considered the highest. That isn't logical. We want the areas that are closest to the highway, okay, lower distance values. And the way you handle that is this. You'll see reverse new values, flip it. Reverse new values, click there. Now suddenly you'll see that it is more favorable for you to be closer to the highway, and the values go down as you go further and further away. That looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and save that. So I'll click here. And this is distance. And so that way I know what I'm working with. I'm going to type in dist underscore reclass. So that way I know it's being reclassified. And hit save. And let it do its thing. Hey, look at that. Okay, and now you here see the distance reclass. And when it comes to symbology, there are things you can do if you want to break out the numbers here. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Now, let's go on to the next one. That's going to be, let me go ahead and turn off distance reclass, distance raster. Here we go. And here is the next layer that I'm going to work with, population raster. And so let's do this one more time again. I'm going to click on reclassify. Input raster is going to be population raster. Now, as I'm doing this, when it comes to naming, can you see just how important it is for you to name it something that's very intuitive? You can say, okay, that is the raster of the population. That's the one that's been reclassified. Please just make sure you have a naming convention that works for you, because it can get really confusing fast if you're only kind of sort of sure of what layer is what. Yeah, a lot of trial and error there in my life. Now, reclass field value, okay, we're going to leave it at that. Now, we want to find places that are of lower population. Those are the areas that we really want to focus on. So here you see that, let's look at this again. You'll see that you've got, just like before the other layer, okay, you got 1 to 10. Of course, you got that no data option also. No, we don't want areas that have very high population to be considered of high priority. We want the opposite. We want places where if you have nobody, wow, that's wonderful. That's perfect. Let's just like before, you click on reverse new values. There, you flipped it. Now places that have 0 to 19 in their population, okay, given a value of 10. And just remember now, when it comes to the raster calculations, it's adding. Okay, it's when it comes to how spatial analysts, inherently addition is the #1 way that spatial analyst brings in all these different layers to discern a final product when it comes to what it is you're trying to find. So we've flipped it around and it looks good. 10 means or higher values for areas of low population. Looks good. And let's save this. And this will be pop for population underscore reclass. Okay, things are looking good. Then I click OK. And here we are. Okay. You'll see now that here is population reclass, and it shows it at 1 to 10. So we are done now with population. So let's turn off a few things here. And if you haven't noticed already, just by watching this video, when you're using Spatial Analyst and you're moving along the path of generating surfaces and reclassifying and things like that, you build up a lot of data fast. So that's why data management is an important skill when you're working with Spatial Analyst. I'll turn off all the population, and now we're finally to the land cover raster. Now, how the heck are we going to deal with this? There are no numbers here. Cropland, grassland, woodland, what are we going to do with this? Well, once again, here in the Spatial Analyst toolbox, going to the tool Reclassify. Let's play this game again. And we have land cover raster. Oh, look at this. Reclass field is cov class. Okay, this is what we want. So now this is an example where you had some other options here when it came to what you could be representing. So this is where, look at that. Now you have only 9 of these to work with. It's not like you can, oh, I'm sorry, 10. You have a 0 there also. Okay, stupid me. But it's not like you have to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and fill in all the blanks along the way for this. The reason being is this is nominal data. Here, let's just say that when it came to grassland, grassland is the one that you say, oh, there, you see, you're not going to bother anybody because it's grassland. You got a lot of it in Kansas. Okay, I'm actually going to type in 10. And maybe the next one that I say, you know, but another one that is really good is woodland areas. You know, that's not going to mess with anybody. Okay, I'm going to type in 10 one more time. It's okay to repeat. When it comes to this ranging, if you say, right now, my decision-making process, grassland and woodland are equal value. Okay, you're not going to break any laws by repeating that. And then I'm going to look at cropland. And maybe I'll say, hey, you know, that's pretty good, but you know, I don't think it's a 9. I think that's more of an 8. Hey, say, welcome to the world of human subjectivity. And okay, other, who knows what that is, so I'm going to give that a 1. You know, just, I don't know what other is. Water, here, tell you what, I'm going to give you a 0. Something tells me you don't want to put pontoons underneath the building. Okay, urban grassland, well, okay. Yeah, I'm going to give that a lower value. Residential 6, no, I'm going to give that a 4. 4, not 46. Urban water, that's still, I'm going to, you can see I'm a real finicky person when it comes to land cover. Urban woodland, I'll make that a 7. And you're all like saying, so, you know, where's your rationale? This is where, as a human being, when it comes to GIS analysis, GIS is not just simply you pressing buttons. Whatever your area of professional skills are in your disciplines, this is where you get to shine and show why, you know, you explain why you made the decisions you did. And finally, for commercial, industrial, I'm going to give that, say, a 3. Okay, so you see what I did, everybody? I repeated values. I skipped some values in that ranging. But the thing is, ultimately, the theme is this. Okay, you've got that range going up to 10. And that works. That does work because everything now, all the other 2 layers and this layer, they're all playing by the same rules when it comes to this up to 10 value system. And so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to save this one. And this one, I'm going to call it land reclass. And I'll hit save. And let it go to work. Okay, hey, that's pretty. Okay, and what do we have? Right here, land reclass. Now, you don't see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As you can see, versus the other layers here as it is moved across up and down. This is just a cartographic thing. If I wanted to, I can go within the symbology here, and I go in here, and I go to properties. And look at that. And now when I click on value, I click apply. There you go. And now you see, just by changing to the value, now you're seeing the numerical values here that I assigned to those various land covers. And that is how you reclassify raster data.